identifying the antecedents to all what's gone on from '96 to now, um, like the Middle Ages vibe to it all, for example, um, has been necessary and really helpful. It's been tough as well. So many tough emotions, difficult things to deal with. I mean, during those 25 years, some great things did happen. But you know, it's like I've tried saying, you know, I wasn't really there, was I? When you really look into it. And so it's best to just leave it all behind. You know, the official record may or may not be consumed with that. I don't know. You know, and I'm not really in a position to judge or speculate too much on what may be going on with that. But yeah, it is best to just characterise it in the way I have, for me anyway, at least, and just leave it. You know, but yeah, going over the origins of all this, of all what's taken place, it sort of led me to a conflict, what they call a conflict perspective, whereas me against them sort of thing, us v them. But on Wednesday evening, I had a subtle shift. I don't exactly know why. Maybe because the drug-ins were eased a bit, the covert drug-ins. But there was a subtle shift in perspective, which you know, I capitalised on. Really useful, really useful. And from there, there's still been difficult times because you know, the shenanigans have kept going on, the drug-ins have kept going on, you know, all sorts of things like that, which can be a bit annoying sometimes, but it's nothing major. Trouble is with the drug-ins, then you have to, after the drug-ins have sort of diminished or lessened, then you can sort of take stock and carry on with what you were doing. I've said about one of the things about going back to the flat that may become an issue, and that is the TV. Now, for one, I haven't got a TV licence. I don't know if I'm going to get one. I don't think I'll be able to afford it for a bit. But yeah, they had the news channel on Friday morning, and the breakfast show was on. I had a bit of a strange reaction to it afterwards. I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. But then it was on Saturday, no reaction whatsoever. You know, the thing is, if I watch that type of stuff too much, that, you know, I may have a reaction to all that sort of stuff. But it's like I've already said, the bulk of the work I'd already done. Well, the bulk of the work that I needed to do for myself was pretty much done when I was in that flat before I was even brought here. So there isn't really any need for me to go running around channels on TV and so on and so forth, even though, you know, it's something I could do, I suppose, but I don't think I'll be able to get much out of it that I haven't got out of it already. But useful, really useful stuff, what I did. You know, back at the flat. I think it was yesterday, or the day before, I think it was the day before yesterday, that the people here said that I wasn't allowed to go on what they call leave, which is a break outside sort of thing. Because it said I've been misbehaving or something, the words to that effect. And all I can attribute that to is when I went out for a coffee and things were going on out and about. I do what I often do in what I do with my unconventional behaviour. But yeah, it's sort of, I can see that continuing for quite a while maybe. And maybe that's a good thing. But I expect once the time between me having packaged up the amalgam years to after that has had enough time to really sink in, then I expect that unconventional type behaviour, bizarre behaviour if you want to be like that, will lessen more and more to the point where eventually I'm pretty sure it won't happen at all. But that's a process that struck me may be the case. But yeah, I mean, another thing about unconventional behaviour and so on is during the time of the amalgam, a certain level of offbeat thinking, behaving, and so on was pretty essential. I mean, a certain degree of madness, for want of a better word, was necessary because those years were so offbeat. Because when at times when I'd look back at things that the subject, which at the time I thought was me, obviously, did, it is enough to send you off your rocker. So another thing as with unconventional behaviour going out and about, I'm pretty sure that as things progress, then that type of offbeat stuff should take up less space, less of my mental space, more and more as well. So, yeah. I mean, in the lead up, when I mentioned about Wednesday having this subtle shift in perspective and outlook, I'd started doing other things, reading, despite the edits, and just getting into things rather than just sitting here and all sorts of shenanigans, druggings were taking place. Like I said, that stuff's still ongoing, but that's about it, isn't it? But yeah, doing stuff. For example, I've got back into using an AI service, artificial intelligence service. It's been brilliant for just looking up stuff. Looking up stuff based on my interests, based on making sense of things as have been going on and how they are now and how they may be going forward. That type of natural process of looking back, considering the current time and looking ahead to the future takes place. But brilliant. I've started to get back into journaling, but I'm a bit uncomfortable with journaling. at the moment. Where am I? I just think it's going to take me time to get into it. But yeah, I'm sure I will. Bit tired, been losing sleep quite a lot lately. But you know, at least last night, unlike a few nights, a couple of nights before it, I wasn't struggling to breathe and having all sorts of crazy thoughts, manufactured by the powers that be. But yeah, that's something, isn't it? And like I say, the druggings have lessened, not only in frequency, but in intensity, which is pretty encouraging. The other day I did have what has so far been the best conversation I've had with one of the shrinks here. I think that went pretty well. Don't know if I'm gonna go to the apparent meeting, the scheduled meeting that I'll probably have set up for tomorrow. I may not. But yeah. Oh, one thing about the AI service, none of the theorists I've been looking at, none of the theories, and so on and so forth, really captures how things have been and ways to move, look ahead, ways to characterise things and ways to look ahead, problem solving, strategies and stuff like that. Pretty good, but nothing quite fits, like I said. So yeah, it's a case of looking at the theories that are helpful, and there's enough that are helpful out there, but just acknowledging, well, there's some stuff that's great, but yeah, this could well be a completely unique situation. Don't know. Now, I had looked up stuff to do with cults, as I mentioned in one of the videos a while back, and other things like that. Quite interesting stuff. But yeah, loads of interesting stuff on AI. Currently reading Understanding Media by Marshall McLuhan. Great first chapter. The second chapter I'm struggling with a bit. It's not as, doesn't seem as good as the first. But yeah, read a biography of his. I think I've mentioned that before the other day, by Douglas Copeland, who wrote the book Generation X, I think it was. But that's fiction. I can't really be bothered with that. But a good biography apart from the edits. But yeah. So yeah, getting into stuff. Having the meals in this room now. One of the troupe, one of the actors, got a bit too much in the face. I thought just, but it allows me to have food in the room, and which is all good for not becoming institutionalised or not becoming too institutionalised. So yeah, and also eating the food here, even though I've done a big shop at one of the supermarkets, and I may go ahead and buy some of the ready meal microwave curries because they've got space in the freezer here where I can stick the curry, but I've got to find out if we're allowed to use a microwave. But anyway, yeah, so yeah. What's that, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days. 4 days. And, yeah. So much has improved in those 4 days. Yeah. I mean, like I say, stuff goes on out there. It's none of my business, none of my concern. I just, and it really isn't, is it? doing my thing.